Travel with me.
Hey fellow humans, Mina here. Welcome back to another drive-in talk, either Japan edition or me driving around Korea edition. It all depends what I feel like when I'm editing. So if you see me in a go-kart with far less tattoos, then it's Japan. If it's just a ride on a bike, then it's just me riding on a bike back in Korea at some point. Also, this is the first video of 2025, so Happy New Year, my fellow humans. I hope you had a great holiday season. I know I did. I know not everyone else might have, but some might have. But either way, I hope that this year brings you joy. And speaking of joy, we're going to talk about a book I finished last month in December. Or I think it was last month. Could have been October. I don't know. I read a lot of books. In total, the grand total, which is officially 149 in 2024. Granted, 37 of those were a manga series, but they still count. So yeah, we're going to talk about a book that I love. But I got to do a rant about it because, you know, that's what I like doing. Spilling out the tea on books, even if I love them. Before I get into it, this book actually has a TV show made out of it, apparently. It's streaming on Peacock, a channel or service or whatever that I do not have, and I'm not going to pay for another streaming service, so I'm just not going to watch it legally. Or I'm just not going to watch it in general, honestly. Just from what I've seen on the previews, they changed some pretty major things in the book, and I don't know why they did that. I mean, I know changes happen in adaptations all the time, which is fine, but like some of the things, I don't know. If you've seen the show and read the book, let me know how you think they compare. But what book am I going to talk about today? Because let's get into that. We're talking about One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. And it's a trilogy, by the way, so we will be doing the other two books. I had this book on my TBR for a while, and I'm glad I finally decided to pick it up. 5 teens go into detention, but only 4 walk out. Out of one of the teams, Simon is presumed to be murdered, and the remaining 4 are prime suspects. It has a great concept, a great title, though misleading in a way, and a great cover. And there will be some spoilers, so if you want to read this book, just know that there's some spoilers in this rant. Now, I know a lot of people are upset over the twist ending, aka it was, for YouTube context, an unaliving situation at the end and not a murder. And I can see why, but a probably very unpopular opinion here. Just because unaliving shouldn't be glorified and is a horrible way to feel enough to go out because like mental health is no joke, y'all, doesn't mean we can't ever write about taboo subjects, especially if they end up as the twist, which I sort of guess that was kind of what happened, but McManus had me question that guess for the long time, so props to her on that. Was this the best portrayal of mental health? Not really, but it doesn't mean things like this don't ever happen in the real world. And when they do, we shouldn't glorify it. And not everyone's mental health journey is the same, but sometimes people with mental health do bad things. So we shouldn't have to hide that just to be PC. Less very serious things aside, I will say that the title is a bit misleading. I love it, don't get me wrong. It was one of the main reasons I was interested in reading this book in the first place. But in the end, none of them were lying. Well, at least not about Simon not being murdered. They all had lies that they didn't want to get out, so technically all of them were lying. Just it had nothing to do with them being accused of murder. Also, there was a small plot that never really got resolved, and since Simon is gone, I guess his secret died with him. But how did Simon know everything about everyone? It was said he was never wrong, and a lot of the time it was super personal stuff that was hard to find out, like how Cooper was gay. Also, the way he got outed was not cool, but this sadly happens in real life, so I'm not mad about that, which is really unfortunate when you think about it. Or how Bronwyn gets the files for her chemistry test or notes or whatever. Like, how did he know these things? Sure, some things like students having fights and cheating on each other might be obvious, but some stuff isn't. Now for the characters. They're all pretty stereotypical teens, the bad boy, the jock, the nerd, the pretty one. But I did feel like they were real people and grew as characters as the story progressed. Especially Addie. Not gonna lie, I didn't care for her at first. She was pretty bland, but as I read on, I realized that it was on purpose. She became pretty badass and had the most character growth out of everyone and became one of my favorite characters in the novel. And I know this book isn't a romance, but I found Bronwyn's and Nate romance exceptionally done and adorable. I love a bad boy with a soft side. While this reminded me of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, an excellent trilogy and a decent show on Netflix so far, I still haven't finished it. It stood out on its own. I thoroughly enjoyed my read, and though I guessed the twist, as mentioned before, McManus really had me second-guessing my prediction for the entire time. If you like amateur sleuths and good YA, you'd enjoy the read. Just know there's some heavy topics such as depression, self-harm, unaliving, mention of school shooting, transphobia, and possibly more that I can't recall right now. So yeah. How about you, my fellow humans? Have you read this book? Have you seen this show? Have you read both of them? If so, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear how the show compares to the books, and if the show also does book 2 and 3, because as far as I know, there's only one season. I don't really know. I didn't research it. But yeah, we will be covering the next 2 in the trilogy. And yeah. Hope you all had a wonderful New Year's season on all the holidays, and let's get going to have a great 2025, y'all. Anywho, that's all I gotta say. If you want to keep hearing more about stuff, be sure to follow me on all your favorite socials. Links below. Stay safe and take care. Bye!